بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can
Alright.
everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Please make sure that your mic is muted unless you are asking a question. If you do have a question, you can put it in the chat or raise your hand and I will call on you, inshallah. All right, to get started, I just wanted everyone to introduce themselves. So, if you can write in the chat what grade you're in. Have you registered for the information campaign yet? And have you participated in EPC before? Everyone could write that in the chat. While we're waiting, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Amirah Ahmad. I am from Maryland, but live in Chicago. I have participated in EPC for many years. And a few years ago, I began judging and organizing the competitions. This year, inshallah, I will be running the information campaign, which is what we're going to talk about today in the workshop. Okay, so maybe I'll just get you guys to talk out loud. Can anyone tell me which of you has already registered for the information campaign? Has anyone here not registered for the information campaign yet?
I haven't yet.
Okay, so hopefully those of you who haven't will do so today because the deadline is today for the information campaign, unlike the rest of the competitions. That's because the information campaign takes some time. So, you need to start early. Okay, just in case you were wondering, these slides from today's workshop will be sent to you by email after the workshop. You will also get some important links that we will cover in the workshop and the rubric and guidelines. Okay. So what is the information campaign? The information campaign is a new competition that EPC introduced last year, and it is meant to provide an opportunity for young Muslims like yourselves to create awareness about an important social topic related to the theme, right? So this year, the theme is, who knows what the theme is today? This year. Anyone? Chat? Okay, the theme is Islam in the modern world, right? So the information campaign does not have a specific topic. You will choose your own topic and it has to be related to the theme, right? The information campaign is a competition that will allow you to use your own skills to campaign about an issue, right? There's no specific way that you have to do it. There are some general broad guidelines, but you choose your own method of campaigning. That campaign is 8 weeks long, starting from today until the first competition day, which is the virtual competition on January 13th. You will start your campaign today, right? So, of course, the first 2 weeks will be figuring out what your topic is and planning your campaign. And once your topic is approved, you'll start the actual campaigning. And your campaign should actually take the entire amount of time. Except maybe last week you'll be preparing your presentation, but you should have at least 4 or 5 weeks where you're actually spending campaigning and conducting your campaign, right? It's not like the essay and speech competition where you're only preparing one, item for the competition day. This is meant to be spread out over time. It's not something you can just do in a few days or in 1 week. You may work individually in this campaign, or you can team up with someone else within your same kind of grade range. So if you're in middle school, you can team up with another middle schooler. In high school, you can team up with other high schoolers. The teams can have 2 or 3 people, and you can also work individually as one person. The campaign is only open to middle school and high school, right? So grades 5 to 12, that corresponds to EPC levels 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? So if you're in level 3 or 4 and you want to team up with another person or 2 other people. You can only team up with somebody else also in level 3 or 4. If you're 5 and 6, which is high school, you can only team up with another high schooler in levels 5 or 6. The work that you conduct over the span of your campaign, right, the whole 8 weeks, you will document it, and you're going to be presenting that to a panel of judges on the day of the competition, inshallah. Okay, so first we will talk about the topic. Like I said, there's no specific topic. You get to choose your own topic, but it should be related to the theme, Islam in the modern world. The topic should be a specific issue that you believe is relevant to the theme and something that you're passionate about and want to campaign about, right? So make sure that it's not too broad, right? It needs to be something a little bit more specific. For example, if you want to campaign about Palestine, right? That's a broad issue. If you were in middle school, a little bit, an issue that's a little bit broad is okay, but the higher up your level or your grade, the more specific we want your issue to be, the more specific and nuanced we want the topic to be. So Palestine is very broad, right? You would choose something more specific, perhaps the humanitarian aspect or, U.S. involvement, something that's a little more specific. That's important when choosing your topic. The second thing is it should be a current issue relevant to Muslims. It can be relevant to Muslims in your local community, in your state, in your country, in the whole world. That range is open. You can choose whatever you want, but it should be something current, right? You shouldn't just be talking about something that happened before or something happened in history. If you do choose something historic, it has to have relevance for today. Now, whatever topic you choose, you will submit a form, a Google form. You can find that Google form on the QR code, which is on the left of the screen. I will also send a link in the chat. And what you will do is you will write out in that form, right? The form has prompts that will ask you certain questions. You're going to answer those questions. And based on those questions, you'll receive a response from us within a few days. And that response will tell you whether or not your topic is approved. And if it's not approved, what changes you need to make in order to make the topic, suitable for the campaign. I sent the form in the chat. It is also on screen in the QR code, and you'll get an email afterwards as well. So make sure you don't start your campaign until you get your topic approved, just in case we need to change it a little bit. The deadline for submitting this form, this Google form, for your topic proposal is next weekend, November 25th. Inshallah, so please keep that in mind. You do need to submit your topic by November 25th. Any questions so far? Feel free to raise your hand or write your questions in the chat. If you have any questions while I'm talking, you can write them in the chat. I'll get to them, at the end of the slide. Okay, there's no questions. Your goal and mission statement. So something that your campaign must include after your topic is approved, the first step that you're going to take is identifying your goal, right? Developing your goal. So what is the goal of your campaign? What are you trying to achieve, right? Are you trying to create awareness about a topic, your chosen topic? Are you trying to raise money for a cause? Are you calling to action? Are you trying to get people to do something based on the information they receive from your campaign, right? What is the goal of your campaign? What are you trying to achieve? That's something you need to identify because the rest of your campaign will be based on that goal. You can have multiple goals, but make sure you identify what they are, right? And all of this information that you decide on will eventually go into your presentation. So make sure that you have it clearly outlined. The second thing is your mission statement. Your mission statement should also be identified early on. You need to know what is the goal of your campaign, and we just talked about that. Who is your target audience? So who are the people who you are trying to reach with your campaign? Are you aiming to only campaign to your local community? Are you aiming to campaign to everyone in the country, all the citizens of America, all the Muslims in the world, all the people in the world? Are you looking to, campaign to a certain age range, maybe children and youth, or adults, or Muslims specifically, or the broader community, non-Muslims and Muslims, right? You need to identify who your audience is, and that will determine what kind of platforms and content you produce. So based on who your target audience is and what the goal of your campaign is, you'll then identify how you're going to achieve your goal. What methods are you going to use? What platforms are you going to use? What type of content will you produce? And we'll talk about a little bit what types of platforms and contents you can use for this campaign. Any questions so far? No, this is not the essay competition. So I'm going to reiterate this. This is not the essay competition. The essay and speech competition is a different competition, right? It's both run by Moffic. It's going to be conducted on the same day, but it's two different categories, right? So the essay, you're going to write an essay. You have to submit the essay by a deadline, and then on competition day, you're going to give your speech. This is a separate competition, right? It runs parallel, and the presentation day will be the same in the same place, but it is a different competition. The sign-up sheet is the same. I'm going to send that in the chat right now. If you want to register for either one, you're going to use this link. Okay. So, any other questions? Okay, so now what platforms are you going to use? The next step is identify the platforms that you want to use in your campaign. You are allowed to choose any platform. You can use social media, blogs, anything else online or in person, right? If you want to give a speech in person, if you can put up posters, if you can set up a booth, talk to people, whatever platform you want to use. The point is that you need to have a message that you're trying to get out to people, and however you choose to do that, that is up to you. We will ask some questions about this in the Google form you're going to fill out. But it's up to you. These are just some ideas, but you're allowed to go above and beyond. Make sure that you use enough platforms that allows you to achieve your goal. So if your goal is reaching, a certain number of people and you need multiple platforms to achieve that, then make sure you use multiple platforms. It's very important that, you use more than one platform to make sure that your campaign has the most impact and the furthest reach as you can get it to. And again, make sure that your chosen platforms are the best way to reach your audience, right? If your audience is a global audience, you're not just going to want to put up posters and talk to people in your local community. You want it to be something that can reach a global audience. If your audience is a certain age group, right, you want to make sure that whatever online content you post is suitable for that age group, right? So just keep that in mind when you're choosing your platform. Who is your target audience, and cater your platform to your audience. The next thing is the type of content you produce, right? So be creative. Your content, the content that you produce is up to you. It needs to obviously relate to your topic and have the purpose of furthering your campaign. Some examples are on the screen, right? Videos, multimedia, artwork, pamphlets, posts, articles, interviews, presentations, infographic speeches, but use your imagination. You can present using any type of content. Obviously, you want it to be something that is effective and caters to your audience and your target audience. And it should not be, the quantity of your content should be suitable, right? You're conducting this campaign over eight weeks, right? The actual content production will take place over about 6 weeks, right? So you don't want to just produce one, pamphlet, for example, and that's enough for the whole 8 weeks. That's not really enough, right? You need to make sure that the amount you produce is consistent. You do it over the entire span of the campaign, and you're not just doing it all at once, right at the beginning or right at the end. And then also that it's suitable for your audience. Yes. So the question is there a separate prize category for middle school and high school? Yes. So the categories are separate. Middle school will be judged separately. High school will be judged separately. Can anyone give me some examples of any other types of content that are not mentioned on this slide? Any other types of content you think would be suitable for an information campaign? Any ideas you have for what kind of, content you can create for a campaign? All right, use your imagination. Just drop it in the chat. Anyone? Any ideas? Okay. Right. So when you are conducting your campaign, you can use any of these examples of work that are on the screen. But if you have an idea that is not mentioned here, feel free to use that idea. produce that sort of content. And as long as it, helps your goal, that's okay. All right. Next, you want to conduct and keep track of your campaign, right? So before you start your campaign, you want to plan your full campaign. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to plan every detail because it will change over time. You'll realize something works, something doesn't work, so you're going to have to change it. However, you should have an idea of what you're going to do, what your timeline is going to be, right? When, like, for example, you'll say in advance, I want to produce such and such, content. I'm going to post this on December 1st, and then on December 18th, I'm going to write this essay. And then on December 23rd, I'm going to, hand out these pamphlets. You plan your timeline ahead of time so you know how you're going to spread out your campaign, right? Make sure you use the full allotted time. Don't restrict yourself to just 1 week. Don't procrastinate until you have 1 week left, because the point of the campaign is not to just produce, one item or a few items all at once, right? The point of the campaign is to spread an idea, and that takes time. So you're going to want to use the entire time. That way you can spread out the content that you're producing. You can receive feedback and interact with your target audience, right? So that's important. Make sure you interact with your target audience, get feedback, listen to what they're saying, see what works and doesn't work, and then change your campaign to adapt, right? The more people that get your message, the better, the more effective your campaign will be. So also diversify your audience, right? If, you feel like maybe I shouldn't just interact with only children my age, maybe I want to campaign to adults as well. Change your audience, right? Diversify your audience. And you can start off, having a diverse audience, but make sure, like I said, that whatever platforms and content you choose is suitable for your audience. It is also incredibly important to create original work and cite your sources. If you're using any sources, if you're citing or quoting anyone, make sure you cite your sources properly, right? We don't want to see any plagiarism in any of your material. Of course, with online content, a lot of times you are using somebody else's work, but make sure that, if you are quoting someone or citing or using another source, that you are citing that, right? It's important to note, like, for example, if you find a poster online about your topic and it happens to already exist, right? You can't just simply print that out or repost that. That's not a part. You have to create something original, right? So you can get ideas from things that already exist, but you can't actually just use somebody else's work in your campaign as if it's your original work, right? You need to produce your own original things. And lastly, make sure you save all your work, right? Whatever material you use, save it, because you will be presenting it, and so you need to keep a documentation of that. If you created any posters, pamphlets, you wrote something, you made a video, make sure you have it all saved so that you can put it into your presentation. Any other questions? So the question is, so if you have a sibling team and one's in middle school, one's in high school, you can't actually do that as a team. You need to, stick to your own age group. So that team, it'd be better if they competed as individuals, one in middle school, one in high school. And if you have further questions about that, email essays@moffic.org directly. You'll see the email at the end with questions such as this, right? Like, who can be participating on a team if there's different age groups. Send your questions like that to the email address so that we can deal with it on a case-by-case basis. Okay. If you're in third grade, first, second, third, or fourth grade, the information campaign does not apply to you. You unless you're in a team with a middle schooler, you won't be able to participate on your own. So this is probably not relevant. Okay, the next step is the presentation. So once you've completed your campaign, on the day of the presentation, which is the day of the competition for the essays and speech as well, you will present your campaign to a panel of judges. Now, the way your presentation will look is kind of like how this slideshow looks, right? It's going to be in the form of a slideshow, and you'll have different slides for each kind of item in your presentation. The first thing you need to include is your topic, right? What is your topic? It's going to be the topic that you proposed and got approved. And then Why did you choose this topic? Why is this topic important? How is it related to the theme, right? Just talk about your topic. The second thing you need to include is your goal and mission statement. And we talked about that. What is the goal and what is the mission statement? Your goal, what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to raise awareness? Are you trying to raise money? Are you trying to, call people to a certain action? What is that? And then your mission statement as well. You need to include both of those in your presentation so that the judges know what you were trying to achieve. The next thing you need is a timeline of your campaign. And this is just a summary, right? You're going to talk about, I started on this day, on such and such date, I produced this content and I put it on this platform. On this day, I did this. And you're going to give us a timeline of your entire campaign, the entire 8 weeks or 6 weeks, what you did at each step. Then you'll have a few slides on the details of how you conducted your campaign. What you did, this is kind of like your timeline, but it's more detailed, right? What you did at each stage, any problems you faced, any feedback you got, how you adapted to any changes or any challenges, right? You're going to talk about the process that you went through in your campaign. Then you are going to show your creative work. So you're going to have a few slides showing us the content that you produced, right? If you made a video, if you made a poster, whatever it is, you're going to put those in the slides. If it's something that's very long, like you made a long video or you wrote a long article or essay, you're going to just summarize that, right? Give us a small clip or give us a summary. But if it's something like some artwork or a graphic that you can show us, you're going to put that on the slides. And then lastly, to conclude, you're going to reflect on your campaign. You're going to think about, what did this campaign achieve? What did I learn from this campaign? Any lessons you learned? What could I have done differently? And also, what can I do moving forward, right? What are the next steps of this campaign? Do I want to continue on this campaign even after the competition? Are there any other organizations already campaigning about this issue that I can maybe team up with or join? Who else would be interested in this type of campaign, right? So you're going to reflect on your campaign. You're going to talk about what lessons you learned and what steps you can take moving forward. The time for this entire presentation will be 10 to 15 minutes, right? So on the day of the competition, you will have 10 to 15 minutes to present to the judges everything you did in your campaign. You probably don't need less, like if you take less than 10 minutes, you probably didn't fully cover your campaign, or maybe your campaign wasn't as thorough as it needed to be. And if you take more than 15 minutes, as long as it's a little bit over, it'll be fine. But at some point, if you go too far over, we will need to stop you in the interest of time. So make sure that you practice your campaign ahead of time, your campaign presentation ahead of time so that you know you can fit it in the time limit, because you don't want to be cut off halfway and not be able to finish your presentation. Any questions so far? Luqman, regarding your question, please email it to essays@mafic.org. Okay. So this is the timeline of the information campaign from our perspective, right? So what do you need to do in the next few weeks? The first thing is registration, right? If you haven't registered for the information campaign yet, the deadline to register is tonight. So please do that. If you're a little bit late, we can probably make an adjustment, but please try your best to register tonight. The topic proposal deadline. So this is when you need to submit your initial topic proposal. Tell us what you want to campaign about. And that is going to be on November 25th using the link that I sent previously in the chat, and that we had a QR code on screen. Use that Google Forms link, and you'll get an email about it afterwards as well to submit that. Then there's going to be a check-in. On December 16th, 2023, we will send each participant in the information campaign an email. And basically, we're just checking in to see, have you started? Are you facing any issues that we can help you with? How is it going so far? We just want to make sure that you've started and that everything is going well according to plan. You've made a plan and you know where you're going. Then there's another workshop on the art of speech and presentation. And this is going to be very helpful for you when you present on competition day. So I encourage everyone to attend. That is on December 23rd, 2023. And you can find that on EPC's website. Then on the day of the competition, you will present your campaign. The presentation we talked about, that's going to happen on the competition day. That's January 13th on Zoom for participants who do not live in DC, Maryland, or Virginia. And if you do live in that area, then it's at Al Huda School on January 20th, 2024. Again, these dates are the same dates as the essay and speech competition, presentation. And lastly, the award ceremony, stay tuned for that. You will get more information on that later. Any other questions? Okay, the last thing we're going to do is go over the rubric. I'm going to send a link for the rubric in the chat. It is on the website and you can find it there. The rubric for the information campaign has 3 components. Okay, the first one is content. So this is what your campaign produces, the content that you produce in the campaign, the quality of that content, how original it is, how effective it is, how innovative it is, were your ideas, were they effective? What kind of ideas did you produce, right? Try to make your campaign something different, something interesting, and something effective. That is what the content element is about. The degree to which the campaign represents creative and innovative ideas, material, and relevance to the theme. That's another important thing. It needs to be relevant to the theme. We will let you know in the topic proposal whether or not it's relevant to the theme. But even after that, every piece of content you produce must be contributing to your topic, right? It has to be related. So read through this on your own time. The different points that you could possibly get depending on how well you performed in this category, content. The second thing you will be judged on is delivery. This is not the delivery on the presentation. This is delivery of the campaign. How you, what platforms you utilized, how well you utilized the platforms in delivering the content that you produced to your target audience, right? So the degree to which the campaign appropriately utilized various platforms, the efficacy of the material in achieving the campaign goal, and the effort expended in the campaign. So something else that's taken into account here is how long did it take you, right? Did you use the entire time that was allotted, or did you cram it all in 1 week, right? Because this is a campaign, it's not like the essay and speech competition. You can't cram it. You have to spread it out because the purpose of this is to raise awareness or to campaign about a certain issue, and that takes time. You need to interact with your audience, so it needs to be spread out over a period of time, a few weeks, and so that's something that's important here as well. So again, read this on your own time, understand what kind of things we're looking for in the delivery category. The last thing you'll be judged on is the presentation. And this is the presentation that you create to present to the judges on the day of the competition, right? This presentation is based on the activities that you've already done in the campaign, right? You're not producing anything new here. You're just telling us what you already did. The things that you'll be judged on are how well did you present it, right? Your speaking skills. What did your presentation look like? Was it easy to understand? The slides that you created, did they look good? Was there like too much text on one page, so it's confusing? Was the sequence of your presentation understandable, right? We're looking for how well did you present your campaign on the competition day. This is not judging the campaign, right? Because that was the first 2 categories. This is judging the presentation, right? So again, if you want to improve your presentation skills, make sure you attend that workshop. That's coming up on December 23rd. Any questions? If there are no questions, this is the end of the workshop, inshallah. If you do have any further questions about anything to do with the information campaign, please email essays@mafic.org. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.